Hey guys, it's day 2. I hope you're having a great Wednesday, or whatever day it is you're watching this. I really want to just dig into the information today because I want you to hear all the information, and I want you to have time to do to listen to the podcast. I'm going to be adding more podcasts for you guys to listen to, and what I'm talking about today is actually taken from some of the experts from the 131 method, which was put together by Shalane Johnson. She partnered with tons of different experts, nutritionists, doctors, all kinds of stuff. So I highly recommend everyone going through the 131 just because it's very educational. It'll teach you a lot about the different kind of foods and how it works in your body and how to figure out what works best for you, different methods of improving your gut health. And it's kind of like the anti-diet. She has the mindset that I agree with. I say this all the time, that I don't diet. It's just I try to live a healthier lifestyle and eat foods that work with my body, work with, my health. Everybody's health is different. So there's really it's very hard to benefit from a cookie cutter, diet or meal plan or whatever. Like, you really have to kind of figure out how to create your own meal plan. Like, obviously everybody's like, just tell me what to eat. It'd be so much easier. But I really want to continue to encourage you to be your own biggest advocate, your biggest detective when it comes to foods that either, irritate your body or nourish your body. Foods that have nutrient content versus ones that are just kind of empty calories. And just doing other little things that are like healthy habits to kind of improve your body's function. That's what's going to serve you over time. It's not spending a ton of money on, crazy diet plans or whatever. And you can't outwork your nutrition. Like, you have to have your nutrition in place to make everything else kind of work. So, I know a lot of people say they feel stuck if they don't get their exercise in, which I know that there's some that, it just kind of goes hand in hand there. But I truly believe that gut health has a huge impact on how the rest of everything is going to work for you. So that's why I asked if you feel, I am super washed out, aren't I? If you feel stuck and you feel like you've been doing, healthy food choices, if you've been working out, all that stuff, and you feel like you haven't made the progress you want to, I really want to encourage you to keep learning more about gut health this week and beyond this week. But if you have questions about 131 method, I can answer as many of them as I can, and hopefully I can start helping people go through that program. There's not really a food plan to follow. Like I said, it's kind of information on how to kind of test foods for your body and like different eating methods, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get more into that later. I'll kind of type some of that towards the end of the week, but we can talk specifically more about the 131 method later. I just want you to know that this is where the information that I'm going to cover today is from Dr. Garcia, who is one of the videos in 131 method. What I love about the 131 is that she doesn't just say eat this because it's healthy. There's all this research, all these doctors and scientists and nutritionists and stuff, like I said, who do videos, they do audios, they have recipes and stuff, but it's all information for you to listen to, and then you apply it and figure out how it matters for your body and your life and all that stuff. So, but this is kind of newer information about small intestine bacteria overgrowth, basically. If you've ever heard somebody say, they either suffer from candida or they have, poor gut health or whatever, it could be an issue of bacteria overgrowth. And now the difference is, like like I said yesterday, if you watched the live from yesterday, we talked about how it's very important for there to be, flora, bacteria in your intestines, right? Like your gut health is all about your intestines. But the thing is, the small intestine should actually be sterile. It should not have any bacteria in there. So all the, if you take probiotics, if you have good or bad bacteria, it should all be in your large intestine. So if you have bacteria in your small intestine, it's likely going to cause discomfort. Some people don't have many physical signs, but most people within, 20 minutes of eating, they usually have discomfort. They usually have bloating. They might have digestion issues, indigestion, constipation, all that stuff if you've got bacteria in your small intestine. So, so he talks a little bit about how he personally went through it and what he did to kind of overcome it. So they actually work with people virtually as well. So he was talking about how, you can do the test yourself at home. You can, they can see you through video or over the phone or whatever. They see people in person too. But this is something that's easy for me to kind of tell you a little bit about and pass the information on. And it's something you can kind of think, okay, well, some of this stuff I really resonate with. I need to see if I can, fix it. Or if you just be on the lookout about I'll give you some ways to start testing it, but also ways that you can start improving it. If you think you might have SIBO, doing any of the things I'm going to suggest won't hurt you if you don't have it. But it's just a way for you to kind of test if you do and improve it. So, because this week is all about improving our gut health. So, since we shouldn't have any bacteria in our small intestine, what happens a lot of time is we may have too much going on in our large intestine and it pushes up into our small intestine. Or you may be taking a probiotic that you don't need, or it may be a low quality one or whatever. So somehow that extra flora, good or bad, gets into our small intestine. You shouldn't have any. It should be sterile. So that's where the food comes out of your stomach, and the first intestines that it hits is your small intestine. That's where the food starts to break down and you start absorbing the nutrition into your intestines, which goes into your bloodstream, right? And so I mentioned yesterday that once the food sits there, whatever sits there, when it's absorbed into your bloodstream, if there's toxins and all that kind of stuff in there with it, that's what can kind of make you feel icky or even lead to, weight gain and stuff like that, or weight loss resistance at least. So you want the environment to be sterile because that way you're not also absorbing bad bacteria that could be trapped in your small intestines into your bloodstream with those nutrients of what you're trying to eat. So when you hear people say you are what you eat, well, you're actually also what you absorb, because you can be eating healthy food, but if you have bad bacteria in your small intestine, you're going to also be absorbing that bad bacteria with the nutrition. And you can only absorb so much of most of the nutrients and vitamins and minerals and all that stuff at once. So you're limited on how much protein you can absorb at once. And there are certain things that you eat that might even limit the absorption of protein or whatever other, vitamin or mineral or, nutrition that you're trying to absorb. So you have to be conscious about, how that all plays in to each other. So you don't want any bacteria in there. If you do have it, you might experience bloating, like I said, within 20 minutes of eating. And it kind of irritates the lining of your digestive tract. So that's it just could be uncomfortable when you eat, or you might not feel it, but that could be what leads to leaky guts. And sorry, I got a phone call. Forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb. So it could lead to leaky gut syndrome, and that can actually lead to more serious issues. I know I kind of touched on that yesterday, but if you have leaky gut, which means the bacteria, the good or bad bacteria, is going to, leak through your, intestines or whatever. If you have leaky gut, it can actually, either not necessarily cause, but worsen. Like if you're predisposed to an autoimmune disorder or something, it can actually exacerbate that, or it could even lead to having the symptoms that you would suffer if you have an autoimmune disorder. Because some people have autoimmune disorders, but they don't have severe symptoms. So this could be something that led you to have symptoms start to present themselves. And since we talked about how gut health is linked to mental health, it can actually cause extra stress if you have leaky gut syndrome. It's, even been linked to some people having to get on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, and even some more serious, mental, diagnosis have come from, just having a leaky gut and that bacteria and stuff getting into your bloodstream. So there's also skin issues that can present themselves. Like if you have chronic eczema or psoriasis and all that, a lot of that is actually linked back to gut health, and it could be a result of leaky gut. And also hormone imbalance. So we talked a little bit yesterday about how balancing the flora in your gut has a lot to do with balancing your hormones too, because having poor gut health could lead to poor hormone balance. So if you can get both of those more balanced out for your body, you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to break through weight loss plateaus. You're going to, be overall less stressed and less crazy feeling. Hey, Christy. Oh, thank you. It's this natural sunlight that's coming in the window. But thank you. I hope that you had an awesome time in Mexico, lady. So he was saying some of the ways that they test for bacteria in your small intestine is the hydrogen breath test. So you basically, they create this, like, it's basically sugar water, formula or whatever. And they can actually have you breathe, in the 20 minutes following drinking the sugar water. You take like some deep breaths into this machine they have, and it can chart your methane and your hydrogen content in your breath. So when your food starts to break down, you release these gases and stuff. It's what helps break down the food, and helps your body start sorting like the nutrition that it needs to pull into your intestines, and then the other stuff that it sends through your large intestines that doesn't need to be absorbed, that's going to eventually be turned into waste, right? So, if you are breathing out high levels of methane, that means that the sugar water that went into your body, and everything hits your small intestine first, like I said, before the large intestine. If there is bacteria in there at all, that sugar water will start to be interacting with that bad or good bacteria. And that's how they know that your small intestine has bacteria in it. So there's also a prebiotic test they can do, and I think it's like potato starch or something. I don't know what all is mixed with it, but there's like a potato starch that you can get like just at the grocery store, and if you take that, I think you mix it with water, and it hits your small intestine first, when you eat it, and then or drink it. I'm not sure what it looks like when you make it. Hey, Brandy. Oh, I know, Christy. I'm sure you're. Oops, sorry. I'm sure you're glad to be back on track, but no doubt that you missed it. Miss being in Mexico. So anyway, there's a prebiotic test you can do. So I can give you more information on either one of those if you want to like literally test if you have SIBO. But like I said, the solutions that I'm about to give you, it's not going to hurt you if you don't have it. It's just a ways to improve your gut health and to make sure that you don't have an overgrowth of bacteria in your small intestine. Because it should be a sterile environment. So some other symptoms of, SIBO, if you have the bacteria in your small intestine, it can actually lead to very weak abs. Your core, especially your abs, the front, can be very weak. And no matter how much core exercises you do, it can remain weak. And it's also your quads. So the front of your thighs, those muscles from your abs to your quads can actually be weak and remain weak regardless of what kind of exercise you're doing. He said something about their neurological components literally switching off in your body to where you cannot strengthen those muscles if you have bacteria in your small intestine. Like, who would have thought about this? You know what I mean? So like, it's not all about the workouts you're doing. Like, your insides matter so much. So he was also saying a lot of people with bacteria in their small intestine have knee pain and hip pain. And it could be like something that's super chronic, and it be all from that. So a lot of people who have straightened up their gut health have had less knee and hip pain, and they have been able to get stronger in their core and in their legs when that's all they changed. It wasn't like they started this whole new workout program. They didn't start, this crazy new diet or anything. So here are some ways to try to recover from SIBO, which again is small intestine bacteria overgrowth. So he obviously is thankfully an advocate for nutrition first, focusing on your diet on what you eat, not being on a diet, just being aware of what you're putting in your body. Obviously, lower carb is a way to kind of get rid of more bacteria, because the more carby something is, usually the more sugar it has. So lower carb automatically means low sugar. So, sugar feeds yeast, and yeast can help bacteria grow and all this stuff. So you want to eat a lower carb meal plan. You want to, you can follow some anti-candida meal plans if you want to, or find recipes, that fit that criteria. You still want to eat as clean as possible. So when I say like lower carb and all that stuff, don't get super crazy with the fats and the proteins that aren't clean. You want to keep it clean. And being more aware of food maps, which are foods that actually, the sugar from the foods that feed bacteria. So like I said, if you eat lower carb, it automatically means less, like lower sugar. And it's very important to keep your sugar low anyway. But sometimes even like some people just can't even tolerate eating healthy carbs as much because of like the little bit of sugar that they are getting, even if it's natural sugar or just even fruit. Some people just don't need to eat a whole lot of fruit. And I mean, and there are people out there that can't even eat a lot of vegetables. So like I said, there's not just a one size fits all. You have to figure out how your body responds. So figuring out how to avoid those foods that will introduce too much sugar into your body and therefore feed that bacteria. The second way, after nutrition first, always, supplements are the next way that he recommends, recovering from SIBO. And you want to do like the antimicrobial herbs. These are one of the reasons I've been trying the different herb blends I've been trying since January is because I just never really felt like I had a handle on my gut health. And I was because of the bloating, because of everything that went on ever since I had that C-section in July, I'm starting to realize that maybe, I need some more specific supplements to address that bacteria, or to just even make sure that I'm not holding on to anything in either one of my intestines. So antimicrobial herbs are a huge one. So these are the ones that like, they literally make sure that, it's cleaning out the toxic stuff. So it's cleaning out the not clean, whatever is in your body. It's going to take it, out of your body. Digestive enzymes, which, there's some supplements that might have digestive enzymes anywhere, but sometimes you might need a more potent dose. So there's actually one I'm going to try soon, and it's supposed to be really helpful for sleep as well. But it's basically a blend of different digestive enzymes. So you want to make sure that you have those, in there to help take away any of the extra bacteria that's not needed. Also, one of the lifestyle tips I talked about when we were talking about hydration was not drinking while you're eating, even though that's something that's super common in our country to order food when you order food. Order a drink when you order food. It's actually to maximize the digestive enzymes you already have in your body. It's best not to stop drinking maybe 10 or 15 minutes before you start eating, and don't drink anything else again until about 20 minutes after you're done eating. So that way you're not washing away the digestive enzymes in your gut before your food gets down there. So that can also cause bloating and discomfort if you don't have enough digestive enzymes to chew away at that food, right? And another thing he mentioned was biofilm disruptors. This is something I myself have to research a little bit more, but it's just another tool that they use. Also, boosting your immunity is really important in other ways. So like I talked about yesterday, how one of the signs that maybe you have poor gut health is if you get sick a lot, whether it's like super sick with like fever, chills, all that stuff, or if it's just like minor headaches and colds all the time. A lot of that is kind of linked to your gut health. And if you're putting foods in your body that cause you inflammation, that cause your, digestive tract to be irritated, it could be something that's, is fighting against you as far as your gut health goes. So if you have food sensitivities or allergies, one of the things we do in 131 is, we're basically not eliminating foods, but just like kind of tracking and charting like what we're eating so that we know like, okay, today after I had this and this and this for lunch, I realized that I had knee pain that afternoon, or I felt really, really bloated after dinner tonight or last night because, of this and this is what I ate. And so you can kind of test it. So the next day you can eat some of the same foods you had from dinner the night before, but leave one of them out, or just do one of them, and then have all the other foods be different or something like that. There's different ways to test it, but that way you can kind of see, how this food and this food and this food that you ate, or any of these causing issues. And then if you do have inflammation or, digestive issues or whatever, bloating, you can start by removing those one by one and kind of see which one was causing the discomfort. It's very important to just be aware. And then they also have people, he talks about a lot of people having hidden infections. So like you have something like deeper going on inside your body with, either your organs or, your blood or even your skin or whatever that you don't know about until you have some of these like chronic issues that pile up over time because of your gut health. And then, you kind of have to address like a bigger issue. And then the last thing, I touched on this yesterday as well, environmental toxins. So a lot of people don't realize how much like the air quality, the water quality, you breathe all day, every day, and you drink water, hopefully all day, every day. So the quality of both of those things really affects, like what you're breathing, all that's eventually absorbed into the bloodstream, into your lungs, and then you process water through your digestive tract. So it's very important to be aware of the quality of air and water around you. Some people can either eat or drink stuff that may lead to heavy metal issues. So that he said that he's run across a lot of people that have high lead, even high aluminum and high mercury. So, like how, especially when you're pregnant, you're supposed to be aware of what fish you eat because some of those have high levels of mercury. So there's some people that may, their gut health may be bad because they have high heavy metal toxicity in their body. So it's just something to think about, especially, and one of the last ones is he talks about mold. If you live in like an old house or you have to work somewhere that's like kind of, humid and wet all the time, you may have bigger issues with mold concerns. And again, that's just those are other toxins that are in your body, and it's foreign, and it's going to it might make you feel sick all the time. Like if you've got these toxins trapped in your body, especially in your intestines, which is, giving you poor gut health, it's going to make you feel off. It's going to make you feel sick. So if you kind of always feel off, this is just an easy place to start with trying to improve your health, because, it doesn't have to be this huge overhaul, but it does need to be a life change, because it all revolves around your nutrition. It all revolves around supplementation, and then just being more aware of like the little life habits that are going to affect your immunity and your overall toxicity. So anyway, we're going to talk more about later in the week as far as, supplementation ideas. I told you we'd have a day that we talked about probiotics and stuff. So tomorrow we're going to talk about poop. So just be ready. But if you have any questions about SIBO, the small intestine bacteria overgrowth, let me know. If you have no idea what candida is or anything like that, you can just Google it and get more information, but it's basically overgrowth of yeast, overgrowth of bacteria, and just see if you identify with any of those symptoms, because now, like I said yesterday, with the glyphosate being so prevalent in so many of the foods we consume and other toxins out our environment that, in our environment that we come in contact with all the time, those are going to constantly mess with our gut health. So doing preventative things like already, knowing what foods are good for your body, taking the supplements that help rid you of the toxins, before they have a chance to sit around and cause you issues, drinking plenty of quality water, getting your body moving, spending quality time outside somewhere that's clean, that's around the region where you live. Like all those things can help you improve your gut health. So let's keep learning and keep doing what we can to keep bacteria out of our small intestines. And then we'll talk about how to better care for our large intestines soon. But let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.